Awesome Rider Wiki.
Hey YouTube, Awesome Rider here with my review of Premium Bandai 01 for the Level Up Rider Series. So for this, we are getting a full-on articulated figure for Ex-Aid's Level 1. So as you probably know, this line's original main gimmick was being able to transform the little figures into their Level 1s, which was okay. It didn't really look the greatest, obviously. It's kind of hard to. But so they decided to give you an opportunity to actually have a full-on figure of this form in this line. So there'll probably inevitably be a Figuart version, but honestly, I'm not sure how much better they can make this. I actually think they did a pretty good job here. Into the review. No, I'm just kidding. Anyway, so I'm not going to go over the box really. It's just kind of there. I'm even just going to set it aside so it doesn't try to steal focus. There's nothing really neat about the box. It's actually kind of one of those more boring boxes that looks cheap for the Premium Bandai ones. So yeah, honestly, I think this guy looks pretty good. I've always been a fan of the adorable little chibi forms. By the time I'm getting this now from when I pre-ordered it, it's slightly bogged down by the fact of how much I hate Emu, but I still like the little form. All he comes with here is the little Gashcon breaker in the hammer form. And it is actually more fully painted than usual. You know, usually we get either one solid plastic color or maybe two, but this one's actually pretty solidly painted. Probably not quite the level you would get with Figuart's quality, but still pretty decent, and it's nice. And there's not really a whole lot else he could come with, given the fact that he doesn't really use any other weapons in this form, and this figure line doesn't have, you know, swappable hands. They use these little old school Sochaku Henshin finger joint hands, so I think that's finger joint hands. That was really weird saying. But yeah, there's just going to be a pretty quick review because there's not a whole lot to go over. I think overall he looks pretty good. He looks pretty great, actually, to me. I really like him quite a bit. I think it captures the proportions really well, captures the details really well. These are really basic, so there's not a whole lot that they really could mess up here. So that combined with the fact that this line is pretty solid paint-wise anyway, I think the only real glaring, even glaring is too hyped of a word, but real significant detail difference you'll probably notice with an inevitable Figuart is the belt. But even then, the belt is really basic, only made up of a couple colors, so basically you're just looking at the Figuart probably having a more refined look to it, maybe some individual color pieces here you can put in here, little Gashpon. I meant to say gas hats, and then just Gashpon came out. But that's really about it, because everything else is pretty well done here. I mean, you have all the little details in here. The main body is basically black and white, so there's not a whole lot to mess up there. They have the little sort of rubbery tube material there. And the head area is really where they needed to succeed, and they have. I think the pink looks really good. It's got a really nice look to it. It looks kind of like the armored look from the show. I always like the clear, almost like clear black plastic. That would make no sense. Clear plastic in front of the eyes to sort of give it the look like it has in the show. And like I said, the proportions are well done, and he looks good. Like, I really like it. Articulation-wise, he basically has as much as they could get for this figure of the normal articulation build of these. You got a nice all-around movement here. You have a single elbow joint. You got some swiveling at the fist as well. I already showed off. They got those little joints there. There is swiveling at the waist here. There's not really any like other mid-joint or anything. I don't think there really would be. You can't really move the head because, well, you can't, and it really wouldn't work in this form because it's always stationary. And then you have the little leg joints here, which actually do move back and forth pretty decently and side to side. The joints on mine are actually fairly tight, to the point when I first got it, I thought you actually couldn't move it all that much, but they're actually just pretty tight, and because they're a little more cumbersome, it's a little harder to move them around, as to be expected. You do have a single knee joint here, and you can move his feet around a little bit, so he's pretty well articulated for what he is. It's basically like what you could do in the standard figure articulation, but with his build. But honestly, it works perfectly. Like at the beginning, I had him in that little running pose, which just reminds me of that GIF and that from the beginning episodes when he was running, which I always really enjoy. So like, it just gives him a lot of personality to be able to do stuff like that, which I really appreciate. See if I can actually get him to stand. There you go. So like, I just like doing stuff like that. On the back of the box, of course, it shows him like, you know, putting his little hand on his hip. So even though it's not like the most articulated figure in the world because of, well, just the way he is, it does have quite a bit of personality, I find. But yeah, that's pretty much it. There's not a whole lot else to go over with this guy, honestly. If you're a fan of these forms, I can definitely recommend checking him out if you can find a good price, because I think it's a really nice little figure with a lot of personality. Well, it'll be interesting to see when the Figuarts come out. Honestly, as of this moment, I'm probably not going to pick up the Figuart of this, because I think this is good enough, and I can't imagine the Figuart being that significantly different. There's definitely some significant differences between level 2 Ex-Aid and the Figuart, but with this, I'll be interested to see if they even do that anytime soon. But anyway, that's about it. Until next time, make sure to the Crazy Podcast at RidersRainReynolds.com. And of course, remember to like, comment, subscribe. Until next time, Dawson Rider, signing out.